Hey guys, Edre here, and I'm going to be reviewing the new Morrissey album, I Am Not a Dog on a Chain. It's like my 500th time recording it because the storage on my phone is absolute shit. So, let's start by saying that I wasn't sure what to expect on this album. I mean, Morrissey's putting out albums like all the time, it seems, so I was like, whatever, I'll give it a try. And I gotta say, I have mixed feelings. I think that the album starts better than it ends. I think that there are certain areas in which he thrives, and some areas where I think the album lags. I think that the album overall does complement Morrissey quite well vocally. I mean, the vocal melodies on Love Is On Its Way Out are very nice to listen to, and there's a lot of this throughout the album. But, I see these things show up quite a bit, of him having good vocal melodies, but the songs are lacking. And that's the part, that's what hurts most about this album. There's a lot of areas where I think that he sounds good, but the songs aren't all there. And I think a lot of it has to do with the lyrics. I think there's a lot of good lyrics on this album. But I think there's a lot of them that come off a bit too cringy, a bit too predictable. I mean, we all know Morrissey's a controversial figure, but he brings it up a lot on this album, and that's to be expected. I just wish he would have a bit more diversity in a lot of this. A lot of these sound like they were written straight from the Smiths' back catalog. A lot of the lyrics, at least, kind of like B-sides. I don't know. It just doesn't feel that original, a lot of it. It feels very much like what you'd expect Morrissey to do, and I don't mind it. I just wish it was a little more original. Production-wise, this thing is very all over the place, in my opinion. I think that, sure, the production's nice, but I think that the guitars, especially the acoustic guitars, which are plucked and pretty present throughout a lot of these songs, are very buried to the point where they don't have any room to breathe. And I feel like that's an issue because I really like the instrumentation. I really like the musicianship on this album. It's just the way it's produced often drowns that stuff. And that kind of sucks because I would love to see that not happen so I could hear everything great and have everything feel alive. But a lot of the album does feel very much kind of like it was just kind of made to be made. And unfortunately that does hurt the album a little bit. Now, not everything about this album is negative. I think that some of these songs actually turned out pretty good. The title track, I Am Not a Dog on a Chain, is unique. It's fun. It's an interesting listen. And at the end of the day, I think that Morrissey does do a good job in portraying how he feels about what's going into this album. And it's really easy to get to know Morrissey pretty well through listening to this album, and that's always good to know. I always like having that extra connection to the artist. But at the end of the day, this album didn't leave me feeling anything crazy or revolutionary. This isn't nowhere near the level of the Smiths or even some of Morrissey's earlier solo material, Viva Hate. So at the end of the day, I always judge everything based on a 0 to 10 scale, with a 5 being average. And this is a very short review, but I just feel like there's not that much to talk about here. I just wanted to at least cover it because I did think that it was an important release that dropped this year. I decided to give it a strong 6. I don't hate this album. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's groundbreaking or new. But I do think it's a little bit better than it is bad, and so I decided to give it a 6. 6 is slightly better than bad, or slightly better than average. So Morrissey's not completely lost it, but I just think that he needs to take a little bit more time between these albums and really focus more on some of the, songwriting and stuff like that, not just the sound and aesthetic. And that's about it for now. It's a very short review, but Morrissey, I'm Not a Dog on a Chain.